Okay, so this video is a post about my journey to where I'm at now musically, and what led up to the epiphany to change direction into a new style that I just simply called Blackwave, because I thought it was a good name which represented a lot of different electronic influences, stuff that I've been listening to throughout my life actually, and even before I got into metal, and the early years of listening to metal, and I've always been to a lot of different styles of music, sort of thing. And so I'm going to play some aspects of what I'd say is most definitely been really important in my life, and does most definitely influences Striborg today. And one part, this segment is going to be like electro hip hop. You've got electro in synth pop, but this part is the electro part of hip hop. And I used to even break dance back in the breakdancing craze in high school. It was a very long time ago, and I'll play some of that too. But I'm going to start off with one of my personal favorites. This is one of the earliest electro hip hop songs. Everyone knows. I'm going to play the song Planet Rock, and it's you could hear Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, dabbing it a bit too. And but this is the song that really just paved the way for a lot of electro. So it was crossing over into synth pop, and it was great. It was great for the breakdancers because it was musically, it was just out of its world, and it just was perfect for the dancer at the time, This particular song samples 2 tracks by Kraftwerk, one being Trans Europa Express, and also Numbers as well, which are mixed together. And it was the help of Arthur Baker or somebody. Yeah, produced by Arthur Baker. And it was some of the earliest use of the TR-808 drum machine. Yeah. So so that inspired a lot of the electro sound in the Striborg Blackwaves music initially. Another breakdancing favourite of mine was this track by Malcolm McLaren, and also the world's famous Supreme Team Show. This track is called Buffalo Gals. So the next track I'm going to play, it was a massive hit, like in 1984, and the breakdance craze that hit all the high schools. So I'm going to play you some Rocksteady Crew, and this track's called Upright. Love the artwork for this too. I used to have a book that had subway artwork in it. It was incredible. I think I sold it to my neighbour many years ago. I wish I still had it. It had some amazing artwork in it. And this is the full-length album they put out here. The Rocksteady Crew, Ready for Battle. And they're all incredible breakers. Yeah, especially this guy here, Crazy Legs. Yeah, incredible group. They were at the height of their game in '84, you know. Absolutely. And it's a great electro hip hop too, you know. It's really good, a lot of fun to dance to, you know. And it was so much fun back in the day, break dancing, and a lot of the break dancers were. A lot of the really good breakdance were people short, like myself, because it's much easier to deal with your body's weight and gravity and that kind of thing. But I always found the tall people to be look the most impressive. They did, because their legs are just like whoa, taking up so much space, and it looks impressive. But this one, fucking hell, man. One of the greatest, I think, electro hip hop songs, in my opinion, for breakdancing is this beauty here by an artist called Hashin. It's called, and the track's called Al Nafish, in brackets, the soul. That bass line. So around the breakdance craze, there's many great films. One of the best, in my opinion, is this film called Beat Street, and these are the soundtracks to it. They've got some great tracks on it too. And this one, so this is from East Side. From the West Side, also, this is a great film, breakdance. Yep. And the song in particular, to make a point here, is earliest track by Ice-T, Reckless, which is an early electro track from 83. Day came out records like this, Instructional Breakdance record. But it's also got some great tracks actually, like Play That Beat Mr. DJ, Electric Kingdom by Twilight 22. Yeah, so it's still got some cool tracks on there. Okay, so this next segment of the evolution of Striborg, I guess, and what led up to that point, changing from DSBM to Blackwave music. A lot of people have asked who don't know why I do the music that I've been doing for the last 8 or 9 years. It all started when I was working on a procession floss songs, about 2015, 2016, and I was really jaded with what I was coming up with and also what I was listening to. And I was even playing around with a lot of alternative stuff to what I was, to the black metal thing. And even going back to as far as 95 when I used to muck around with it, sort of alternative riffs. Yeah, alternative music was really big in Hobart in the 90s. It was huge. Now it's called post-punk, punk, goth rock, new wave, electronica, whatever. So back then we didn't have these newfangled names. There's a name for everything. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so it was just like the 90s alternative scene, and I've actually forgotten what the hell I was talking about. Thank you, ADHD. Woohoo! Anyway, let's get back to. I can get back on track. So anyway, whatever I was talking about then, it doesn't matter. But we're gonna go. I'm gonna feature. The first record will be. Actually, this is the first record I bought. Was this? It goes under a couple of titles, but this particular edition, Corroboree by Split Enz, and that's from 1981, I believe. Yeah, I don't like the Pooh Brown print. And I say that because I remember reading people's comments on that, or was it something else? I think it was. Oh my gosh, I think it was literally Tim Finn who said he wasn't happy with the Pooh Brown print. That's hilarious. See how much I just absorb all this useless knowledge about stuff, and I think, how am I making that up? And it's actually true. Oh, holy moly! But anyway, I'll play you their breakthrough song, and these guys are from New Zealand. This segment is going to be on Australiana, like Australia, New Zealand, sort of mix of the synth pop. It wasn't synth pop. When I grew up with music, I was listening, before I got into metal, I was listening to pop music. I was watching Countdown and all these TV shows and listening to radio and buying tapes and records at a very early age, and dancing to it and breakdancing and getting into all the electro sort of stuff that, the hip hop and the same with the pop music I was listening to. I realised later on in life it was the new romantic movement, and the music was that of new wave and synth pop. And so, like I say, I'm concentrating on, and the reason why I feature Split Enz is because they started so early, like in the early 70s, and doing very progressive rock and pop music in their own country. And everything they've done has been freaking amazing, even to the very earliest stuff that's folk music even. Oh, it's wonderful. Anyway, I'll show you what this looks like. This is a very nice laser edition of this album. Incredible. And I'll play you I remember Tim Finn was actually stating, I feel like Molly Meldrum. It's weird. But he did actually, for real. He stated that, I think it was when they were working on, was it just, Frenzy. It must have been Frenzy. Was it Frenzy the one before this? Yeah, it was. Frenzy was the album before this, and he stated in the interview, we'll give it one last go. If we don't make it, that's it. And they made it with this really dark new wave song. So good. And as I say, they have a history, many years of creating music, and they just, you can tell, there's so much background, there's so much layers, there's so much going on in this kind of stuff, And the film clip to this is incredible. It's so dark, and for me, it's really relatable in a really creepy way. It's a creepy song, but it's beautiful. It's so dark. It goes to show how dark pop music can be. Goes into a part that sounds to me like very reminiscent of the Beatles, as in the catchiness of the Beatles. That's a perfect example of those kind of harmonies or something. There's just something about it. It's just, oh my god, it's like when you hear that, it's like you sort of haven't heard that since the Beatles. Honestly, I'm saying, I reckon that's why it fucking worked so well. Okay, so the next group I'm going to feature here is a group from Australia called, originally they were called Flowers, and then they changed their name to Icehouse in the second album. So here's the first album from 1980. So this is early Australian new wave synth pop. You hear the influence of sort of the likes of David Bowie and Roxy music. But they've certainly got their own sound going on, and Australian artists certainly had a very strong, following, not only within the country, but a lot of success internationally from, especially from NXS, bands like that. So we started off very new wave, post-punk. So yep, I'll play you a very atmospheric song. So I'll play you the opening track, which is just simply entitled Icehouse. This next track is one of the most incredible synth pop songs ever to come out of Australia. One of the greatest, on par with anything worldwide. This is from '83, a band called Real Life. It's from the album Heartlands. Something I own it. Don't have it here though. But I'm going to play you this track, Send Me an Angel. It's easily the best version. There are so many versions floating around on Spotify and iTunes, and it gets so confusing. It's like I never bother with them. I just go straight to this one. This is the best version ever. And if you don't like the extended, that's a 7-inch version. But I do prefer the extended. I think it gives it more of a life to the song, you know, just by being extended. It's incredible. So the band is no longer, from what I gather, but there's another band from Australia who performs it live nearly every show, Pseudo Echo, which is incredible. So it's great to still hear this sort of new wave, synth pop, anthem, whatever, you know, probably inspired the Suits or French, and I don't know. But yeah, keep the spirit of that going, you know, and they're still going. And I still see them live. I've seen them live 4 times in the last 7 or 8 years. Because they put on an amazing show. So that's who I'll play you next. Shit on it. Alright, let me start. Film. Okay. So their first appearance was on Countdown in 1983, and they performed an exclusive version of Listening on TV that's different to the 7-inch that was released and different to any demo recordings released by the group. And it's available on YouTube to check out. It's a great primitive version of that track. Not as polished as the end product, but I really like that version. It's really good. But I'm not going to play you Listening. I'd rather play one that's a little bit more underknown, not as obvious and underrated, but to Suits fans, highly rated, obviously. This is incredible. The music, the lyrics, what it's about, what it's all brought together with the instruments, the aesthetics, the hairdo. You know, it's just so 80s, it's so Australian. I think we do it as well as anywhere on the planet Earth, you know, back in the 80s, or, you know, when that, I grew up with all this kind of stuff, and I love the stuff, and I will feature another post that will have, you know, stuff that inspired this, and stuff obviously from overseas, but this segment is just on the Australiana sort of part. But anyway, without further ado, check out this amazing track. The extended version might take a while to get into it. Oh, let's see. I love the logo. I want to get a t-shirt of this sometime, mate. It's so cool. Baby version of it too. It's you know, I love that. You can hear that, you know, even the first Blackwave album, I like to do that sort of 1, 2, 3 sort of beat, which is like in that early new wave synth pop. It's in all sort of goth rock, electronic goth rock and stuff like that. So that's, you know, all this kind of stuff. I was, you know, like I said, I was listening to before, you know, I got into metal, and secretly, while I was getting into metal, well, I tell you what, I'll tell you a little story. There was one time, one of my friends came around to my place, looking through all my stuff. You know, he's going, oh, where's all your metal? Can't see any metal. And I had stuff like, well, you know, Thompson Twins, Bananarama. I had like Pet Shop Boys and all this kind of stuff. And I was so embarrassed that I didn't own any metal. I was a freaking little kid. I didn't have money to buy these records, man. I didn't have rich parents who bought them for me. So it took a very long time to collect music. And if I got into a new style of music, there was no internet or anything like that, was there? So it took me a long time to get the metal. But I remember feeling so embarrassed that I didn't actually own any metal. Claimed that I was really into metal. Because that was just like the turnaround. Yeah. This next band I'm going to feature have been around for quite a few years first. An Australian group called Dragon. Now, from what I gather from the history of this group around that time is they had a bit of a hiatus and they came back all with a new sound and came out with this amazing goddamn album. It's so good, it really is. I absolutely love it. And actually there's a lot of similarities, you know, not that there's plagiarism, but maybe it's just, you know, just being an Australian musician myself and the love of this music, it's somehow come through a bit. And, you know, RIP to, you know, Mark Hunter. He passed away a long time ago, actually, didn't he? Quite a while ago now. The vocalist of the group. I'm going to play a track called Rain. And it's, yeah, it's similar to, musically, it sounds a little bit like the rhythm or the beat. There's something going on there. It reminds me a little bit of my own Delusions of Grandeur track that I did off of the Blackwave album, which is not the first Blackwave album, it's the second one. I did an album before that in 2017 called Instrumental Transcommunication, which is pertaining to the, you know, paranormal investigative type of approach. So that's where I got the idea for that. And I was toying with the idea of Blackwave as early as 2015, working on, you know, Procession of Lost Souls. And I think it's evident in the song Dead Inside. And I was trying to find a new sound. I was mucking around with guitar and purposely writing completely different styled stuff. And I did that Susie and the Banshees cover, which is awful, actually. It was my fault it was awful because we rushed it and it could have been so much better. Yeah, but it is what it is. I sort of like the atmosphere. It was nice and cold and all that. And so that's the last sort of black metal album with the guitars. Yeah. But yeah, it was... and then, you know, I will reveal in another segment sort of the epiphany where I went to officially create Blackwave music. But this is a part of the journey. I'll play the song Rain by Dragon. It's incredible. I could always make up a playlist if you wanted on Spotify that has, after I finish this, like I could do some playlists where I play these songs in full if you're interested or not, I don't know. It's so good. That's all I'm going to play, it's so good, check it out. It's a tease. And I'll play sort of like a couple of late entries sort of for me before I suppose the Australian new wave sort of synth pop sort of died, and now sort of fairly, you know, really forgotten now, really underrated groups. I mean, you know, some of these groups never made like In Excess or even as strong as the Suits or Euro gliders. I can never pronounce that word properly very well. These guys are playing this month at Longley Hotel. Yeah, in Tasmania. I'm going to check it out. It's going to be fantastic. I saw Pseudo Echo there last year. And incredible. Got a really good turnout too. But I'll play this track by Coup d'etat. And, you know, I sort of get this out just as a joke a lot of the time, you know. Not a joke, I genuinely really like it, but, you know, just, you know, like, I was playing this when, I think it was the first time I went to Melbourne. My first show at Miscellanea, I had a great response. Probably because it was like COVID and it was the first time I played and everything. But I did get a very good response and everybody was just amazing over there. And I was hanging out and we just listening to all sorts of stuff. And all of a sudden, I felt compelled, as I do, to have a few beers or something, to go and put on something just to blow people out a bit. And then, you know, so like... I've got the little version of this one too. And this is a reissue of the album. This is a really nice, clear, ultra clear, transparent vinyl version. Very nice. Because I've got other great songs on here, like Think of Me, Body Talk, you know, there's lots of great tracks on here. Incredible. Yeah, it's cool. I love it. The great group. So that's like from 85. And you have like Y1E, Uruguayans, lots of other groups. Inaccessible, get massive, nice house and whatnot. All right. Okay, so the last group I'm going to play then, as far as what I grew up with Australian sort of new wave synth pop that really stood out to me was this group here, Kids in the Kitchen. I think highly underrated. And I think they're still playing live too, which is cool to know. I wonder if they'll ever come to Tasmania. Have to check out. But I'll play you, probably not the biggest hit, but I think something that shows very well the artistry of the group. Perhaps, I don't know, it's just one of my personal favourites by them. It's a known song by them, by fans of Kids in the Kitchen. So here we go. It's called Bitter Desire. That's one of their singles, The Change in Mood. And a personal favourite, Can't Stand. That's a fantastic song too. And something that you said. Lots of great songs. Really good album. So underrated. So that wraps up my section of like Australian synth pop, new wave, new romantics kind of movement. There's many other groups too which are amazing too around that time.
Some yogurt. Oh, very tasty. Yum yum. Oh, little 먹을게요.